The Time Portal, Chapter 3. Just then, Dr. Brooks went out of the trance that he was in. Where am I? How dare you take me here? Please, Doctor, let me explain. We took you here because I must confess something to you. As Theodore said this, he sat down on a small chair in the room which they were in. Well, why didn't you just tell me in my office? There we could have talked in private without leaving the hospital. If we had, then you might not have believed us. You would then have the authorities come and arrest us before we could fully explain ourselves. Now please, let me explain myself. Well, okay, but make it quick. With that said, both the doctor and Calazar sat down simultaneously. My full name is Theodore Wilkes. This is the great and all-powerful wizard, Calazar. Brooks looks at the silent man sitting next to Theodore, then back to Theodore. We are the two that you told me about when you talked of the fall of King Windsor. Please, you don't expect me to believe that. Please, don't interrupt. As I was saying, we are the two that you told me about when you talked of the fall of King of Windsor. This is the wizard that went a little forward in time to destroy the king, and I am the one that went forward in time to this century. That's why you found me by the ruins of the castle. That is where the dungeon had been. Calazar went forward in time after he destroyed the king. He did this to find me, which he did. However, he never did tell me how he found out about me. Oh well. Back to what I was saying. We then took you here. The doctor just shook his head in disbelief. All that I have said is true, doctor. I am not crazy. All that Theodore had said, in fact, was true. I am Calazar, the wizard, and I did defeat the king. Here, I will prove it. Watch this. Calazar chanted a few cantations, and the sky immediately darkened. It then went back to normal after a few minutes of total darkness. He then made the doctor float in the air. Hey, let me down! I believe you! After that said, he then slowly floated back to the floor of the small room. So, you two really are for real. I never really believed that story until now. Just think what people would think when they found out that you two are over 300 years old. I will be famous. No, you may not tell anyone about us. Besides, do you really think that they would believe you anyway? Said Theodore, with a little fright in his face as he looked at Calazar, who had said, I told you so. He had a I told you so look on his face. Yes, I guess you're right. If I did tell anyone what I have just heard, they would think that I was a fruitcake from the funny farm. Your secret is safe with me, Theodore. I am glad you took me here instead of taking me to my office, for I probably would have called the police on your tale, and before you had a chance to explain yourselves. I have but one question. How did you conquer King Windsor with such a small army? Calazar thought for a second, and then looked at the doctor. It is a very long story, so I shall attempt to condense it so that it is shortened. After I was transported to a few years in the future, I got as far away from the castle as I could. Even though I knew that I was in the future, somewhere I did not know how much time had gone by. Days, weeks, months, or even possibly years. I soon found it was only an amount of 2 years. I had found that many of the people were very mad at the king, for they did not agree with what the king was doing at all. So disgusted as a knight, I built an army of rebels that wished to do away with the king. I then put a curse on his castle, so weather all around the castle became very bad, Many electrical storms raged. Many of the king's advisors thought it was God telling them that he was angry. So one night they came out of the castle and joined the bandwagon that wanted to dethrone the king. This angered the king very greatly. He sent a big army to fight us, but because of their cowardice, the king had to ride in front. While the battle was going on, the king was hit in the chest with a stray arrow from his own side. The next day the king died, leaving no one to take the throne. They decided on me to take the place, but I refused, and we destroyed the castle. Afterwards, I revealed who I really was. Their first reaction was to hang me, but after I told them the full story, they changed their minds. At the beginning of the next month, I realized I must find out where Theodore was transported. I calculated an estimate of him falling, then jumping into the time portal. I got here just yesterday. I was walking down a street when I saw music makers, rectangle boxes that had music coming out of one. As I was looking at them, a news bulletin came on. It told of a young man that was admitted into 9th General Hospital after a group of tourists were leaving the castle ruins when it started to rain. They had said that there was a blue flash and a young man just appeared in the spot where the flash had been. He was unconscious, so they took him to the hospital. That is how I found where you were, Theodore. Does that answer your own question, Doctor? Oh, yes, it answers it fully. Very, very interesting. That was all the doctor got up and said. I had better go. The people at the office are probably worried that I will not show up for the rest of my patients. Oh, yes, go. But remember what I said about telling anyone. With that, Dr. Brooks shook hands with Theodore and Calazar, and then left. See, I told you he'd listen. Yeah. I am so tired. I think I'll lay down for a while. Where are the beds? Well, you have a choice of the couch or something they call a hideaway bed. I don't care. I'll take the couch. End of chapter 3. Hope you're enjoying this story. I apologize a lot of times for my poor reading of it. I really should rewrite a lot of these things. The grammar is actually atrocious. I'm actually very surprised that I got such good grades on these back in the 8th grade, I think it was. But I guess for what you would expect from a 14-year-old, that's about probably average, I guess. But anyway, I hope you're enjoying them. Until next time, chapter 4 coming up. I'll bid you all a good day, good evening, good night. Whatever you're having, have it, enjoy it, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.